Today we're looking at the emerging category of robotic process automation, RPA,
and we're joined today by Bryant Bell,
Senior Director of Product Marketing at Kofax. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
Well, this is a very interesting topic because it's, according to Gartner anyway, it's exploding. 63% growth year over year. You're right in the middle of it. And it really is a new category and a very innovative category. And as a result, I'd like to kind of take it from the top down and talk big picture to begin with, and then maybe get into some specific examples. What's RPA?
Okay.
Let's start with that
one. The strict, definition of the acronym. So RPA stands for Robotic Process Automation. And a lot of people like to think about robotic process automation as really a macro on steroids. So RPA, really, as a lot of people are implementing it today, is in what we call an attended mode. It's helping workers automate certain tasks that they have to do day in, day out. So those routine tasks like going to several different general ledgers, selecting information off those general ledgers, and putting them into a consolidated spreadsheet. That's a lot of, selecting, copying, pasting, and then making sure that they got the right information. And it takes time. But if you can automate that, then that can go very quick. And so for the majority of people that are using RPA, they're using RPA to automate tasks right now. And that really is where a lot of people are really stepping into process automation, especially robotic process automation.
Well, and I think what's interesting about this category is the term robotic, because what we're really talking about is, and what we've talked about, is the idea of creating a digital workforce.
Right.
And really these macros on steroids, as you were talking about, really represent effectively a digital worker doing a particular task incredibly efficiently and 100% accurately.
And that really speaks to where RPA is evolving. So if you get past sort of the digital assistant and you really start looking at a digital worker, you're looking at digital workers, or as we call it in the RPA world, robots, that are not only doing one specific task for one specific person, but they might be doing a series of tasks sort of joined together that create sort of a mini process. And they can do that and do that very quick and also very accurately. And that's one of the things that people really like about RPA, not only the speed, but it is almost error-free.
Well, and this is really the next level of business process automation, where you're really beginning to bring AI, machine learning, all of the real, cutting-edge modern technologies to bear against, what would be considered an aging solution category in the enterprise.
Right. I mean, if you look at, being able to automate processes, we've had, BPM solutions for a while, right? And some of these BPM solutions are, for the most part, some of them have been used, but the business environments have shifted, and these older technologies haven't been able to really shift with them. So lots of times they're being augmented with robotic process automation to fill the gaps that they weren't designed to do in the first place. So you're now seeing sort of a process automation, which we would consider, a longer term automation or a very defined process that needs gaps to be filled, and those gaps can be filled with robotic process automation. So you have the process automation and task automation coming together. And then, as you said, they're starting to become more intelligent, because what we've been describing so far is really, the robots are dumb. They're going to do exactly what you tell them to do, and they're going to finish when they're done. And until they have more what we call cognitive computing power, they're really not intelligent. And with Kofax, we're able to couple that cognitive computing power with our automation and really let those computers let the robots or the digital workers start to help make decisions and really realize what the worker is looking for and pull information into the workflow that's more meaningful.
Well, and this is really what takes it to the next level, is that cognitive ability to not only consume a lot of information, but begin to understand it and make decisions around it that are not human-based.
Right. And some of those things are changing the way that we can design processes as well. So if you look at a robot or a digital worker that now has the ability to leverage machine learning and natural language processing for, let's say, processing contracts. And they can go and pull that information out of the contract, know where it is, take those bits of information that are needed to help push a workflow along, push that information into that workflow without really human intervention. And the humans get to act where they can act best, is handle exceptions. And really say, oh, hey, look, here's a contract that we've had for 5 years, and we really need to change the terms on this. So the robot can say, oh, based on your tolerances, this is now hit the 5-year mark. Do you want to revise? And that's where the humans can work. Otherwise, the robot will just keep on working and processing the way you want it to.
Well, so how did Kofax end up evolving into this space? I mean, I know you've been around for a while. You've certainly solved a lot of the document issues. Where did you see the opportunity, and where are you seeing traction right now?
Okay, so first part of the question
it's two fairly large questions.
Yeah, it's how we got into this space really, and Kofax is really the market leader when it comes to document capture and transformation. We have patents in machine learning and in natural language processing that help our customers take in documents and records, structured, unstructured, and semi-structured, and pull that information out. And that's really where we excel. We've been doing that for several years. But we really saw that there was a need for adding automation to there. Because you're still, in a way, even though we're able to use advanced technologies, AI technologies, to help you get the correct information out of those documents, we need to still look at places where we can, really jump over those manual intersections that slow down the process of information through the enterprise. And so we acquired our RPA technology, and we've also had a BPM platform, or business orchestration platform, for close to over a decade. And these were brought on board mainly because we saw that automation was the next step in being able to manage document-heavy processes. And that's really where we're excelling now. And we're able to provide those technologies to our customers.
So what verticals are you finding traction in specific? I mean, if you have a couple of good examples.
So one which is obvious to a lot of people, and mainly because they're early adopters of technology, is financial services, or FinServ. And large banks are they're dealing with enormous amounts of information. The data and content that they have to process on a daily basis is always growing. And you really can't just throw more people at it. They need to find ways to process it more efficiently. But especially for banks that are highly regulated, they need to make sure that the accuracy is as close to 100% as possible.
Well, and that's a big part of it, right? The compliance challenge that comes along with a heavily regulated industry like that.
Yeah, and so we're finding, especially in FinServ, that they're looking, and a lot of our customers have started to establish a digital workforce that's working along with their human talent or their human workforce. And they've also established centers of excellence to really help manage that digital workforce and advance that digital workforce. So, we're working with them, making sure that they're able to leverage as much AI as possible, so machine learning, natural language processing, and advanced analytics, so that those processes become more intelligent to meet their needs. So FinServ is a big area for us. Insurance is another. And another one that we see a lot of traction in for Kofax is actually transportation and logistics. And yeah, one of the reasons why transportation and logistics is that they have to access multiple different systems just to perform their job. So if you start thinking about not only just checking manifests, they have to check all their truckers that are their vendors. They have to check shipping lines. They need to find out, what their schedules are, what their loads are. They need to then feed back into their supply chain systems to find out what's on dock, what needs to be shipped, where it needs to go. And so you're looking at all these multiple systems that you need to pull information off to make decisions and make decisions quickly.
Well, and that's an industry that really is taking advantage of the ability to capture data and make it actionable in a way that I don't think that industry ever thought it would get to.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. And the next big thing that we're helping some of our customers out in transportation and logistics is really branching out almost into the banking area, because a lot of people don't think about the huge manual process it takes to do trade finance. So all your letters of credits, your bank authorizations, your customs authorizations, the release of freight, all of this stuff goes into how the currency moves between vendor, supplier, and between countries to make sure that your goods move on time and when they're supposed to. And that it can be handled. And we have customers that are managing that with our business orchestration platform and with RPA and with our cognitive capture. So it's document heavy. There's a lot of tasks and verifications that need to be taken care of, and RPA fits that. And then the process is one that's fairly static because you're working with banks. They're fairly conservative, so you can templatize that out in our business orchestration platform. And the efficiencies they get from being able to recognize those documents, pull that information off with machine learning, and then use our automation to pass it through is enormous for them.
Well, so these implementations sound fairly sophisticated. I'm curious where within an organization you like to engage, and where do you see these? I mean, you mentioned centers of excellence, for instance. I mean, is it at a very high level that you're trying to engage and get that larger thinking to take place?
I would have to say that for us, we really need to start in two areas. One is with business units that are having some sort of success with automation right now, and help them have a larger voice, while at the same time ensuring that we're selling a vision to like a VP of infrastructure, a VP of IT, a VP of processes, so that they know that, oh, here's a solution that either has success already within our organization, or similar organizations are having success with it. It's stable. A lot of the higher levels are thinking about risk, and we need to prove to them that, okay, other companies are doing this, and we're also concerned about the compliance and digital workforce management for you. And so we talk to them, but we also talk to the people that are already having success with automation and AI in a business unit, and help them elevate their message. So it's really, you have to talk to both sides of that organization. One, to elevate their success, make that visible, and then talk to really the VPs and C-levels to assure them that, hey, this is technology that you can adapt today. And it's been adapted by other companies. You're not going to be the first. And we're also concerned about governance, compliance, and security as well.
So within those organizations, how should they think about it in terms of Timeframe? You know, are they? Is this a multi-year process to start to think about, how they can transform these and implement this type of next level technology?
Well, I think that's the beauty of it, is that most of our clients can start with what we would call one robot or one digital worker. And
see what happens.
See what happens. They can say, okay, here's a process that I know is manual. I want to solve it. And they get comfortable with that. And then they can add on and add on. And the same thing happens with our process orchestration platform. They can start with a simple process that's easily defined, templated in our process orchestration platform, and see how that works. And then because we do have a flexible platform, they can add on. And one of the things that's really nice about RPA as well is that you can design a robot and test it, and not put it into production, but test it with live information and say, oh yeah, that works, or no, this doesn't work, I'll tweak it. Or the way we tell our clients to design their robots is not to design one big robot or digital worker, but design parts of that digital worker so that if you work through a process and you say, oh, well, this one robot needs to be optimized, you don't have to go back and redesign the whole robot. You just redesign one part. And this makes it's very simple. A business user can actually design the robot. And lots of times with the Center of Excellence, we want the business users to be in there with that Center of Excellence, helping to design those robots. They know what they're doing better than somebody that might be a Six Sigma guy, because they're looking at the process and the efficiency of it. But we as humans, we find the most efficient way to work. And if you can design that robot in the most efficient way that you work, then you're 10 steps ahead of the game. So.
Bryant, this has been incredibly interesting, and I'm going to be very curious to see how the adoption. I know we're very early in the process here, but the adoption curve kind of flows out because I know Gartner says it's growing rapidly, but it's still a fairly small market.
I would say it's fairly small. I think it's being constrained. One, because enterprises need to figure out a way where a lot of the automation, a lot of the digital workers they have and have implemented are more similar to what you would call a digital assistant. So it's doing automation for one person in a business unit, and so they're not able to scale it up. In Kofax RPA, we really focus more on the unattended. So we have customers that have 2,000 robots or more working, and we have the governance. And so I think it's going to scale. I think one of the things that's going to really help it is that when enterprises start looking and saying, okay, business shifts so quickly now that we need to have processes that are able to be agile, and they're agile through automation. And so the more they put value on the total process, not just the output of those processes, I think they'll scale even more then.
Excellent. And thanks for joining us. We're going to certainly be tracking against this. We would encourage you to go to our BPM site and certainly any of our WorkTech sites that may be covering this, but we'll be writing a lot about not only RPA, but certainly about what Kofax is up to. So thanks for swinging by today. We appreciate the time.
Great. It's my pleasure. Enjoyed it.